Chief Hughes here with today's info board on high-rise fires. Well, fire departments respond to high-rise fires on a regular basis. In big cities like Chicago, Boston, LA, New York, the procedures are basically the same. Arrive in the lobby, determine the location of the fire from the fire alarm command panel, which usually indicates what floor the fire's on. There'll be a red light that says it's on the 30th floor or wherever it's at. Firefighters have to mount an investigation. And in Chicago, for example, we send a fire investigation team up. It's just comprised of the first group of firefighters that arrive on scene on the engine and truck. And they go to the floor, 3 floors below the fire and walk up the stairs. And upon determining, there's a fire on the 30th floor, they'll stretch a hose line to that floor. That's a conventional fire attack, and that they become the fire attack team. There's a lot of other things involved in terms of, if they're to provide for their safety and the safety of the occupants. They recall all the elevators, so they open up they come down, and so everybody can evacuate the elevators. But for the most part, if the fire can be contained to the apartment that it's in, most occupants are told throughout the building over the PA system to defend in place, to remain where they're at, and until the fire is put out. But high-rise fires can become very difficult to fight, though. What occurs is that, the only way to get water to the fire floor is through a standpipe system. Now, in an unsprinklered building, this is the only way you can get water up to these high floors. In a sprinklered building, a lot of times that same standpipe will extinguish this fire, and it'll be very small by the time the firefighters arrive. But in unsprinklered high-rise buildings, it's not always the case. It's just like any other house without a sprinkler system. The fire builds, it grows, there's flame spread and smoke development, and it fills the entire apartment. So firefighters connect up to what they call the standpipe system. There's a fire pump in the basement, and we also bring a fire engine to supplement water, or we can also add foam to the water. But we can pump up to that fire floor. But the danger exists for the firefighters when the outside air pressure pushes the smoke and gases in through the open door. Quite often there's an airflow path. A draft of air will come towards the firefighters when they open the door, compromising their safety. By all this heat and smoke, instead of going out, it can reverse and incapacitate the firefighters, causing them to make a hasty retreat. So there's other advantages to fighting a fire of this nature. By using floor below nozzle technology, the firefighters can fight the fire from the floor below in an apartment directly below the fire in clean air and in safe conditions. They can enter the apartment, put for example, a hero pipe. It's just an L-shaped tube that has a nozzle head on it, and once they pressurize the hose, the water shoots in from that floor almost. It's like having a tower ladder that's 30 stories tall. They're only 100 feet tall. They can only reach about 10, 12 stories. But it doesn't matter what floor the fire's on. You can fight it from the floor below, and it'll extinguish the fire while the door is shut, so it doesn't push the products of combustion into the corridor, threatening the safety of the occupants of the building. The firefighters can on that floor can retreat until such time that the main body of fire is knocked down, and then they could come in with their hose line and overhaul the fire in all the hot spots. But it takes a coordinated effort to make this happen. If this technology, if these floor below nozzles are not brought up during the initial operation, during the investigation even, the threat that the elevators could be knocked out due to a leaky water nozzle. The elevators are quite often on the, in between the stairs and the apartment. If any water spills into that elevator shaft, it'll short circuit the cars and they won't operate. And you're not going to bring up any specialty nozzles. So fire service has to train with new technologies, and especially in situations like fires in unsprinklered high rises.